Welcome to Le Podcast de Philippe. Today, we're going on a deep dive into the world of IPTV fraud.
Oh, this should be interesting.
Yeah, it really is fascinating stuff. We'll be uncovering all the ways that pirates are using all this new technology to steal content and stream it illegally.
It's amazing how they've managed to create this whole hidden infrastructure right under our noses.
Right. They're like ghosts in the digital world. Our sources say that a huge part of this is maintaining like a super minimal online presence.
Yeah, it's all about minimizing their digital footprint. One way they do that is by using distributed networks instead of centralized servers, which are way easier to track.
So it's like they're scattering puzzle pieces all over the place, making it almost impossible for authorities to put the whole picture together.
Exactly. It's really clever.
Yeah.
And it's not just the technical side either. They're also getting creative with how they advertise and get paid.
Oh, totally. So tell me about that. Where are they advertising and how are they taking payments?
Well, they tend to gravitate towards platforms like Telegram.
Oh, yeah, Telegram. Makes sense.
It's encrypted, and it's harder to get them to take stuff down. And payments. Forget credit cards. They've moved on to things like prepaid cards and cryptocurrency.
Oh, wow. So it's basically untraceable.
Pretty much. Makes it a real headache for the authorities.
I bet. But, the authorities aren't just sitting back and watching this happen. They've got their own secret weapon. Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, AI is completely changing the game when it comes to fighting IPTV fraud.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So how does it actually work? Like, what is the AI doing?
Think of it like an army of digital detectives all working tirelessly to sift through mountains of data looking for clues that humans might miss.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture. But what kind of clues are we talking about?
Well, for example, the AI can analyze transactions happening in real time.
Oh, wow, in real time. That's impressive.
Right. And it can pick up on really subtle patterns that point to illegal streaming.
Wow.
Plus, the AI is always learning and adapting as the pirates change their methods.
So it's basically a high-stakes chess match with both sides constantly trying to outsmart each other?
Exactly. It's a fascinating battle to watch.
It really is. But let's get into the specifics. How exactly is this AI being used to fight IPTV fraud? What's it actually looking for in all that data?
One of the most important things AI does is analyze user behavior. It's basically looking for digital fingerprints that suggest someone might be involved in illegal streaming.
Digital fingerprints. Interesting. So what kind of digital fingerprints would raise a red flag?
Well, one example would be if someone's accessing way more channels than the average user.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Or if they're downloading huge amounts of data at strange hours. The AI is designed to pick up on these little inconsistencies that could indicate someone's accessing content they shouldn't be.
That's pretty incredible. But doesn't this kind of technology raise some concerns about privacy?
It definitely does. And that's a debate that's happening right now. There's a fine line between using technology to fight crime and making sure that people's privacy is protected. It's complicated.
Yeah, it definitely is. It seems like with every technological advancement, we have to weigh the benefits against the potential drawbacks.
Absolutely. It's a constant balancing act.
So we've talked about AI analyzing user behavior, but I understand it's also being used to examine the content itself.
Right. AI can actually look for signs that the content's been illegally redistributed, like telltale signs that someone's tampered with it.
Okay, so what kind of signs are we talking about?
Things like unauthorized logos or watermarks, or even subtle changes in the video quality that are typical of pirate sources.
Wow, it sounds incredibly advanced. But with all this technology on the side of the authorities, you have to wonder if the pirates are starting to feel the heat. Are they losing this battle?
It's not that simple. These pirates are incredibly adaptable. They always seem to find new ways to get around security measures. Some of the research we've been looking at actually suggests they might even be starting to explore using AI themselves.
Wait a minute, pirates using AI? Seriously?
It's definitely a possibility. And if it's true, it really speaks to how sophisticated they've become. Just imagine them using AI to find vulnerabilities in the systems designed to catch them.
That's a scary thought. But it's also kind of amazing. So how would they even be able to do that? I mean, do they really have the resources and the technical skills to pull that off?
Well, it's important to remember that these pirates are part of a global network
Oh, right. A global network.
with all sorts of different people and skills. So it's definitely possible that some of them have the expertise to use AI for their own purposes.
I mean, that's pretty mind-blowing if you think about it. This
Yeah.
whole thing is starting to feel like an AI arms race with both sides constantly trying to one-up each other.
That's a great way to put it. And it really raises the stakes. Because if this does become an AI arms race, the implications could be huge.
No kidding. This is getting more and more interesting by the minute. So before we get into the potential consequences of this AI arms race, let's take a closer look at exactly how authorities are using AI to fight IPTV fraud. What are some of the specific techniques they're employing, and how effective are they?
Well, one of the most powerful tools they have is the ability to analyze huge amounts of data in real time.
So it's like having a constant stream of information coming in.
Exactly. Think of it as a digital dragnet cast across the entire internet, constantly searching for any signs of illegal IPTV activity.
Okay, so it's like having an army of digital detectives working 24/7, but without needing coffee breaks or sleep.
Exactly. And these AI algorithms are looking at everything from website traffic patterns and social media chatter to financial transactions and even the video streams themselves. They're trained to spot those little anomalies, those subtle red flags that might indicate piracy is going on.
Okay, so what would be considered a red flag in this context? Can you give me an example?
Sure, let's say a website suddenly gets a massive surge in traffic from a specific location, and all that traffic is going to pages offering pirated content. That would be a pretty big red flag.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like a digital trail leading right to the source of the piracy.
Exactly. And the AI can then dig even deeper, analyzing the financial transactions associated with these websites.
Oh, wow, so they're really going in depth.
Yeah, if a website is processing tons of payments from anonymous sources or using payment methods that are popular with people trying to hide their identity, well, that's another red flag.
So it's not just about catching the people streaming the illegal content. It's also about targeting the people who are making money from it.
You got it. But here's where things get even more interesting. The AI can actually analyze the video streams themselves, looking for telltale signs of piracy.
Wait, really? So they can tell if a video has been pirated just by looking at it?
Pretty much. It can detect things like unauthorized logos or watermarks, and it can even analyze the video quality to see if it matches known pirate sources.
That's incredible. It's like having a digital fingerprint expert who can identify the origin of the pirated content just by examining the video.
That's a great analogy. And what's even more impressive is that these AI systems are constantly learning and evolving. As the pirates come up with new ways to avoid detection, the algorithms are updated to counter those tactics. It's a constant back and forth, but the AI is definitely getting more and more sophisticated.
It sounds like the authorities are really making some progress in the fight against IPTV piracy. But knowing that the pirates might be using AI themselves paints a very different picture. It seems like we're entering a whole new era of digital crime fighting.
It's true. And it raises some really big questions about the role of AI in society. How do we balance the need for security with the right to privacy? And who's going to control this powerful technology in the end? These are questions we all need to be thinking about as AI becomes more and more integrated into our lives.
You're absolutely right. It's a good reminder that every technological advancement comes with both opportunities and challenges.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the world of IPTV fraud. It's a complex landscape where cutting-edge technology and age-old trickery collide. As we've seen, the battle between those distributing pirated content and the authorities trying to stop them is constantly evolving, with both sides using AI in increasingly sophisticated ways.
And the implications of this technological arms race are far-reaching, raising important questions about privacy security and the future of content creation and distribution. It's a topic that definitely deserves our attention and continued discussion.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think the authorities are gaining ground in this fight, or are the pirates always going to be one step ahead? Let us know in the comments below.
And don't forget to subscribe to Le Podcast de Philippe on YouTube for more deep dives into fascinating and complex topics that shape our world. Until next time. It really does. It takes things to a whole new level. But let's dig a little deeper into the tactics these pirates are using to stay ahead of the game. One thing that really jumped out at us from our research is their emphasis on what's been called strong digital hygiene. They're like digital ninjas, leaving almost no trace of their activities online.
Digital ninjas. I love that. So how do they manage to be so invisible online?
Well, it's a combination of different strategies, all very carefully planned to hide who they are and where they're operating from. For example, they're big fans of VPNs. And not just any VPNs, they use ones that are based in countries with really relaxed cybersecurity laws.
So they're basically making it look like they're somewhere else entirely.
Exactly. And they don't stop there. They use all sorts of obfuscation techniques to further mask their activity, making it super difficult to trace their real location.
So they're creating this digital smokescreen. But even if they're careful about their digital footprint, wouldn't their payment methods eventually lead back to them?
You'd think so, right? but they've figured out ways to make even their financial transactions incredibly hard to track. One method that's becoming really popular is the use of prepaid cards.
Oh yeah, prepaid cards. I can see how those would be useful.
You can buy them anonymously and load them with cash, which makes it almost impossible for the authorities to connect the transactions back to a specific person.
That's pretty smart. It's like paying with digital cash. But what about online payment platforms like PayPal? Don't those require some kind of verification?
They do, but the pirates have found workarounds for that too. Sometimes they'll create fake accounts using stolen identities,
Oh wow, that's scary.
or they'll hijack accounts from unsuspecting victims. And in other cases, they might even use traditional bank transfers. But they'll use intermediaries or shell companies to further obscure the source of the funds.
It sounds like they've thought of everything. But how do they actually get the content in the first place? Where does it all start?
Well, there are a few different methods they use, and they're always adapting and refining their techniques. One common approach is card sharing.
Card sharing, what's that?
It's basically using legitimate subscriptions to streaming services like Netflix or Hulu,
Oh, okay, I think I've heard of that.
and then illegally sharing the login credentials with a whole bunch of other users.
So it's like sharing your Netflix password, but on a massive organized scale.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just simple password sharing. They also use sophisticated software to decrypt and redistribute streams from legitimate sources. And sometimes they even manage to get unauthorized access to the broadcast signals themselves.
So they're intercepting the content before it's even officially released.
Exactly. It's pretty impressive when you think about the level of technical expertise involved.
It really is. It makes you wonder who these pirates are and where they're operating from.
That's one of the most fascinating things about this whole phenomenon. IPTV piracy is a truly global operation. With networks that span multiple countries and continents, the people involved come from all walks of life. You've got tech-savvy hackers, organized crime groups. It's a really diverse and complex ecosystem.
It sounds like a massive underground economy built entirely around stealing and selling content. With so many different players and locations, how do authorities even begin to coordinate their efforts to combat this kind of fraud?
It's a huge challenge. It requires a really high level of international cooperation. Law enforcement agencies from all over the world have to work together to share information, track down the individuals involved, and shut down the servers that are hosting these illegal streams.
That sounds like a massive undertaking. Are they making any headway? Are they actually catching any of these pirates?
They are having some success. There have been some big cases where authorities have managed to take down large IPTV piracy rings and arrest the people responsible. But it's a constant uphill battle. As soon as one network is shut down, it seems like another one pops up to take its place.
So even with international cooperation and all this advanced technology, it's still a really tough fight. Are the pirates feeling the pressure at all? Are they changing their tactics in response to these crackdowns?
Oh, absolutely. They're becoming even more careful about their digital hygiene, and they're constantly refining their methods to stay one step ahead of the authorities. In fact, some sources suggest that they might even be starting to explore using AI themselves.
Wait a minute, did you say pirates using AI? That changes everything.
Mm.
But do they really have the resources and the know-how to pull that off?
That's a good question. But remember, we're talking about a global network here with a lot of different people and skills. So it's definitely within the realm of possibility that some of them have the expertise to leverage AI for their own purposes.
If that's true, it creates a whole new dynamic. It's like an AI arms race with both sides fighting for technological supremacy.
Exactly. And it brings up some really interesting questions about the future of this fight. Can the authorities keep up with the pirates' evolving tactics? Or will the pirates eventually outsmart the very systems designed to catch them? These are questions we'll need to explore further.
This is getting more and more fascinating. But before we jump into the potential implications of this AI arms race, let's take a closer look at how the authorities are using AI to combat IPTV fraud. What are some of the specific techniques they're using, and how effective are they proving to be?
Well, one of the most powerful weapons in their arsenal is their ability to analyze massive amounts of data in real time.
So it's like a digital dragnet cast across the whole internet, constantly searching for any indication of illegal IPTV activity.
That's a great way to think about it. They're looking at everything: website traffic patterns, social media conversations, financial transactions, and even the video streams themselves. They're trained to look for anomalies, those little red flags that suggest piracy is going on.
Okay, so can you give me an example of what might be considered a red flag?
Sure. Let's imagine a scenario where a website suddenly gets a huge spike in traffic from a specific location, and let's say all that traffic is going to pages offering pirated content. That would be a pretty clear sign that something fishy is going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like a digital trail leading straight to the source.
Exactly. And the AI can then dig even deeper, analyzing the financial transactions associated with those websites.
So they can see where the money's going.
Right. And if they see that a site is processing a lot of payments from anonymous sources or using payment methods that are popular with people trying to keep their identity hidden, then that's
Yeah.
another red flag.
So it's not just about catching the people streaming the illegal content. It's about going after the people who are profiting from it.
Precisely. But here's where things get really interesting. The AI can actually analyze the video streams themselves.
No way. Seriously.
Yep, it can look for signs that the video has been pirated, things like unauthorized logos or watermarks, and it can even analyze the video quality to see if it's consistent with known pirate sources.
That's mind-blowing. It's like having a digital forensics team that can trace the origins of the pirated content just by looking at the video.
That's a great way to put it. And what's even more impressive is that these AI systems are constantly learning and evolving. As pirates develop new techniques to avoid detection, the algorithms are updated to counteract them. It's an ongoing arms race, but the AI is definitely getting more sophisticated all the time.
It really sounds like it. So we've learned that the authorities are using AI to fight IPTV piracy, but we've also learned that the pirates might be using AI themselves. And if that's true, well, it kind of changes the whole game, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It takes things to a whole new level, and it raises some serious questions about the future of this fight. Can the authorities keep up with the pirates' constantly evolving tactics, or will the pirates eventually find ways to outsmart the very systems that are designed to catch them? Only time will tell, but it's going to be fascinating to watch this play out.
Absolutely. Well, folks, there you have it. Our deep dive into the world of IPTV fraud. It's a complex and constantly evolving landscape where technology and criminal ingenuity collide.
We've seen how both sides are using increasingly sophisticated tools and techniques. And the implications of this technological arms race are far-reaching, raising questions about everything from privacy and security to the very future of content creation and distribution. It's a topic that we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on.
If you've enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Do you think the authorities are gaining the upper hand in this fight? Or will the pirates always be one step ahead? Let us know what you think.
And don't forget to subscribe to Le Podcast de Philippe on YouTube for more deep dives into the fascinating and often complex issues that shape our world. Until next time.